Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. AF. And I'm your host, Alanna.
I'm Kelsey.
And we're back, baby. We hope you liked last week's episode, I guess, at this point. A little Patreon sneaky peeky. And something that apparently was supposed to be part of a regular episode originally anyway, as I forgot.
I guess so. It's been so long. Who can remember?
I know, I did have to, I was looking at the description on Patreon. I was like, oh, this one. And, oh, it was supposed to be, and we recorded it with this. But then, I probably talked too long and had to put it behind the Patreon paywall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fun one because aliens and sexy times. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And now we're back with a regular episode, regularly scheduled programming. And even better, I have my co-host back.
I just realized I forgot to even post our last episodes to Facebook, but I did manage to get them onto YouTube on Saturday or Friday? Friday, maybe. Today's Saturday. I did it on Friday.
It's okay. It's old people on Facebook anyway, is what I'm learning.
Yeah. And on YouTube, I posted them both yesterday, which would be Friday.
Ooh, nice.
For everybody else, the 26th of January.
Yes, some do like to listen on YouTube, so
yeah, I went back and edited or updated, I should say, the little thumbnail picture for the one episode, and it put our episodes out of order, so sorry for the confusion, I guess. But
I don't know if it shows on Spotify and stuff, but it did on our hosting on our end, and it was like,
oh yeah, it showed up on Spotify in the different order, and I was like, that's fun.
Interesting. Yeah. You're like, this one's been out for a week and it has this many plays, but it looks like it's been out for 2 hours.
Yeah, that was confusing. I didn't want to play around with it too much more, so I just left it out of order. But it's episode numbered. You guys will figure it out.
Yeah, it's because of the way Spotify for podcasters is, I think. But anyway, it's probably only bothering us, so everybody's probably like, whatever, guys, shut up now. But no, we're excited to be back, and we haven't recorded in over a week. My things,
almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks.
Odd. Yes, what is happening?
Yeah, we were getting up so early. I think we got up at 5:30 in the morning every day, because that's when the rest of my family gets up, and I'm a light sleeper if I don't have my fan on like I normally do when we're in holidays. So as soon as they were up and out of their room and doing stuff in the kitchen, it woke me up immediately. So I was getting up by about 5:30 in the morning every day.
Oh, okay. Even though you had an Airbnb type of situation, so you had your own room, or?
Yeah, this was a 3-bedroom house kind of deal.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
But yeah, still, exactly. If your family gets up early, then you're gonna hear them running around,
doing stuff. So yeah, I was up early, and
Pat does dishes early. I'm like, what are you doing? Dishes before 9 o'clock for?
And then we were up pretty late most of the days, going to bed between 10 and 11. I think one day I was up until 1 a.m.
Oh,
so yeah, we were just all over the place.
That's my bedtime.
Yeah, my bedtime is normally, well, let's just say yesterday I fell asleep on the couch at 8 p.m. So I was typing my notes and I fell asleep and was like, I think I need to finish this tomorrow morning because I'm too tired to try
Oh,
and like analyze what I'm reading or anything
right.
anymore. So,
I
yeah,
ended up sleeping the fuck in yesterday, actually.
nice.
Yeah, it was. Not, I'm like, I'm not, nope, not going to work. I'm not feeling it. And then I was like so tired, right? And I was
Yeah,
just like, I'm going to go to sleep. And before, because if you're feeling sick at all, and then like for me, it's hard to get to sleep. So it's just like, if I can go right
yeah,
back to sleep, that's what I'm going to do. And then I just like didn't wake up for a few hours after. I was like, holy shit. I really needed that,
yeah.
apparently. Yeah. Um, nothing. I didn't even do anything this week. It's just been a long ass week. And, you know, work
Yeah.
and whatnot and whatever. I'm just glad the days are going to be getting longer now because that really gets depressing when you don't see sun all freaking day at work.
I was happy we came back to fairly nice weather because in
Yes.
LA it was between 15 to like 18 every day. It wasn't that
Oh.
crazy
Mm,
warm. But when we came
yeah.
back here and we landed, we left because landing and then onboarding the plane and getting your luggage, it takes like an hour to get out of the airport sometimes. So
Yeah.
uh I think by like 1 a.m. on no, technically it'd be Friday. Yeah, Friday. Um it was like only -5 here, which was really nice.
Yes. It was
So
plus something today.
yeah, it was
It's
really
even
nice
better.
weather. It wasn't like 2.5 weeks ago. Well, it'll be 3 as of this recording where it was like -40. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we did the whole cliche Canadian thing where a polar vortex hit us. It was
yeah,
not
not
our
fun.
fault.
I hated it.
No. I always hate it, even though it does have a tendency to happen like once a freaking year here in this goddamn city. But anyway,
Yeah.
I people are on Reddit like, why do people always complain? And I'm like to myself, because we didn't fucking grow up here, so we're not used to this bullshit. Or even if you did, it's just
I
too
grew
fucking
up here
cold.
and I'm not used to this bullshit.
It's just too
Uh
fucking cold. Nobody wants to go out and do shit. Like, yeah,
yeah.
people that work certain jobs can't work at those temperatures. Like, hello.
Yeah, when you're
Ugh.
trying to breathe and the air hurts your lungs, it's not fun.
Cars don't start. Things are
Mhm.
just frozen over. It's, yeah. Did you ever
Yeah.
figure out what to wear to the airport? Like, that wasn't a super heavy jacket, like
My
a
mom had the
hoodie or
idea just
something.
to wear our winter jackets with like our layers that we were gonna wear more on the trip.
Yeah.
Wear our winter jacket over them and then leave our winter jacket in the vehicle and then just have like
Mm,
the few minutes while we waited for the shuttle and we're in the shuttle.
yeah,
Just be
yeah,
a little
yeah.
colder. Yeah, so I when we got
Yeah.
back it wasn't too bad. We had those layers again and then we had our slightly cold winter jackets in the vehicle waiting for us, which didn't take long to warm up again. So it worked out
No.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You wouldn't want to be packing those around for sure.
No, it was take up like my entire suitcase.
All right, all right, all right. Well, we had technical difficulties, so we probably could talk for a long time, but probably should just dive into our stories.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, if you like the banter.
Then join our
um,
Patreon. We're less edited and more
yes,
tangenty over there.
true. And speaking of less edited, I did not re-listen to that Akon the Alien. So I hope
Oh
I
well.
didn't say anything too fucking untoward.
I do not remember. It was well over a year ago. Out of
Right?
sight, out of mind.
Hopefully, yeah, nobody made any like controversial comments. We try not to be like, I have this stance on this fucking thing, because then
Yeah.
like people come after you, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we have some. I guess technically this was supposed to be my birthday episode, but the Akon the Alien episode ended up being released on my birthday. So,
Hell yeah, I kind of like that in a way. It's
uh,
It's a sexy episode. It's
Yeah, this is
in
my
honor of you.
my belated birthday episode that I picked the topic of, which is like old-timey
Yes.
or vintage true crime cases.
True.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, by the way. We'll say it
Yes, thank
now.
you.
Even though Capricorn season will be over, but happy birthday to you and all our other
Yeah.
Capricorn listeners.
I
Oh,
had a
yeah.
good birthday at Universal Studios. It was
That
nice.
is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really ask for better than that. Except for
Yeah,
the
it was pretty
disappointing
cool.
flaming mows or whatever.
Yeah. There's like
Oh,
orange
well.
pop with dry ice in the bottom.
Oh, I
And then
remember
I think
something.
some like
Oh,
soda
yeah.
water or something in it to make it more carbonated.
Sparkling. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember seeing stuff that like hot dogs that looked like they came right out of the Quickie Mart from The Simpsons when we were in like the Simpsons land or whatever it's called at Universal.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
like, oh, those look gross. Like, yeah, they.
I think I saw those on the menu, but I didn't see anybody walking around eating them. But
Yeah.
I did
That's
get a big pink donut and I ate the whole thing. It's
you can't really screw up donuts too badly, so that was a good
they
choice.
were really fresh and really
Oh,
nice. So, yeah,
yeah, because I
one of
remember we
the
had a meal somewhere Simpson-y, and it was questionable at best.
Oh,
Great.
okay. Yeah, this we
Yeah.
kind of just stuck to the Flaming Moe's. My brother had a Duff beer. Uh,
Ooh, that's fun.
yeah, and then the donuts. But yeah.
Nice.
So for this, I at first by the time I got back from my holidays, I couldn't even remember how I had stumbled upon this case, and then I remembered it was on a listicle kind of thing I was looking up about like older cases. Uh
Okay. Love a good listicle.
yeah, and this one kind of caught my attention uh for a couple reasons, which I'll like reveal as we get through to them. But
No spoilers
this is
here.
yeah, no spoilers. It's the case of Joseph Vache. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and he was
okay.
born November 16th, 1869. A long fucking time ago.
Oh, damn. 69, nice. November 16th, nice. Scorpio, day before my brother's birthday. All right.
Nice.
Joseph. What's he gonna
Yeah.
be like?
Not good. He wa-
I'm like, I just have no idea what's happening, so I'm just gonna wonder aloud. All right.
he was the son of an illiterate farmer. I don't know if
Oh,
that's both his parents.
seems
And
like the time. Like
yeah,
it was the times.
they also had a buttload of children. He was the 15th
Ah,
child.
holy cats.
Yeah, like holy shit. 15.
Well,
I've
Catholics
heard
were
of
they?
Yes, they actually were. My next sentence literally says, when he was young, he was sent to a very strict Catholic school.
It's funny as I just got done reading a book about it was called The House of Kennedy. There's just so many Kennedys. Some of them had so many kids, like the Irish
Oh,
Catholic household tradition, like Bobby or whatever has like 11 kids, and I'm like trying to read it. I'm just trying to keep track when they get to all like the grandkids because there's so many like Patricks and
Jesus.
Joe Juniors and yeah,
Yeah.
Bobbies and stuff. Yeah. It was good though.
Yeah. So
Mm.
at this Catholic school, he was taught to obey and fear God. Uh,
Ah,
mhm.
Pray and Obey or whatever that show is called.
He joined the army in 1892 to escape his poor family, according to some sources.
Okay.
Others said he might have been like conscripted into the army, but most things said it was probably a way to escape.
Yeah, just
Hmm.
instead of becoming a farmer, like keeping in the family business, maybe he want to
Yeah.
branch out.
It said quickly he became pretty frustrated for lack of recognition or any sort of promotions that he was really getting. He thought they were coming too slow, or he didn't really get them at all, and he believed he wasn't being shown the attention that he felt like he deserved. So,
Okay. He's
yeah, very
got
like
some
egotistical and arrogant, I think.
right. Are we sure he
Yeah,
wasn't born like 100 years later? Because he seems quite entitled for this day and age.
right. From the 15th son of a poor illiterate farmer.
Acting like a
Very,
trust fund kid.
yeah. So during this time, Vache made his first suicide attempt. It was like quite bad. It said he slit his own throat with like
Oh,
a razor, but he ends up surviving.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Pretty
who does that
insane.
though?
Yeah, right. Uh,
Um,
While still in the army, it said that he had fallen in love with this young maidservant named Louise Barrett, and she didn't feel the same way about him and rejected his advances, saying she wasn't attracted to him. Which,
well,
I mean, fair. If you don't like the person, you don't like them.
he's not painting a great picture so far.
No. Uh, it gets worse because after his suicide attempt, he was discharged from the army, and after his being discharged, he once again tried to like meet up with Louise. Some
Hmm.
things said that she had even like said he was stalking her for like months and all this stuff. Um, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And
Not
he
a
even
great look.
went as far as to propose to her. Some sources said that she ended up mocking him and his proposal, which left him enraged. And so he decided to go basically crazy. He shot Louise 4 times, and including like
What?
in the head, and then tried to commit suicide for the second time by shooting himself in the head twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
He's really bad at this.
hmm
But I bet he
However,
kills her, like, no problem, right? Because, of course.
no. However,
Oh,
both he and Louise would survive their injuries despite being like critically injured. Um,
holy shit. And multiple gunshot wounds to each of them.
yeah, one thing said she got shot like in the mouth or something, so maybe it exited like
Ooh.
her cheek. Um, yeah.
He must have grazed himself or something the first time, because how do you even shoot yourself in the head a second time if you've done a good job the first?
I have
Like,
no idea, but one of the bullets is pretty bad. Vache had shot himself twice in the head. He ended up paralyzing one side of his face that caused a severe
mm.
deformity and left him with his right eye almost always being infected. Uh,
Oh, you know what that reminds me of though? Is that the one that I covered with Ryan Wall or whatever? Because he was shot twice in the eye, and the officers were looking at him like he
oh,
was the
yeah.
perp. Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
like, "What? What happened to you, buddy? Like you killed your girlfriend?" He's like, "No, I think someone hit me in the eye with something." Like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, that was so gross.
crazy.
That's still, like, that case haunts me.
It's
Still.
pretty fucking yeah, terrifying to think about that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not going to get the medical care you need, or and worse yet, you're looked at as a suspect. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the bullets he had fired at his head remained lodged in his ear for the rest of his life.
Oh my
And
god.
he also suffered brain damage, which ended up causing his pre-existing mental illness. They didn't specify like what this illness was, like to get a lot worse.
What?
So
And
they
where in
believe
the
there was
hell is
quite.
this bullet in his ear? I'm so sorry. Now I'm
I don't
fixated on
know,
that.
right? I
It's
thought
got to
about
be in the
that for a while
canal.
too. I
Oh,
have no idea. Yeah, I don't know.
somewhere far
Um,
enough that you couldn't get it out.
yeah, they said it wasn't safe to do surgery to get it out, so they left it in.
Ooh.
So, yeah, like with this stuff, his ear, his eye, getting infected. He has paralyzed on one side of his face. His neck has like a big slash from trying to slice his throat. Obviously, this crazy appearance, a lot of people like shunned him, and the reactions from
Oh.
strangers he says drove him to hate society at large, just like people had,
Aw.
they were afraid of him, basically. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I can see both sides there, I think.
Yeah. He was known otherwise for his like unique appearance with these facial scars, as well as what was described as his trademark plain white handmade rabbit fur hat that he always wore. There's pictures of him
Ooh.
in the hat. There's a few pictures on the drive you can look at. We'll put them up on the website.
Okay, because now I'm picturing like, is it like a Davy Crockett hat?
Yeah,
Wait, is that the one with the raccoon tail?
let me look at it again. I think it is. That's a pretty accurate
Rabbit. Rabbit fur.
thing.
Very soft, beautiful.
Yeah, it looks very like it's just kind of a top, like Russian. It almost looks Russian to me.
I'll have to take a sorry, that thing's open. But I love a good Russian fur hat.
Yeah, this one's white though, not black.
Oh, hang on. There we go. Old Timey Crimes. Oh, very furry. Yes, very much
Yeah,
the. Yeah,
like just the
fur.
straightforward little hat.
Yeah, like stands up a little bit, not like
Yeah,
the flat cap. Yeah.
no. So after this second suicide attempt, ended up putting him in a mental institution in Dole, Jura, where he made
Oh.
multiple successful escapes. There's lots of like details with it. Some of them he escaped like a train, and then other ones it was vehicle
Oh.
transportation, and other things he escaped, crawled through windows in bathrooms and all this shit.
Little Ted Bundy over here.
Yeah, however, he was always really recaught. Sorry. It said that he was really
Mm.
violent with the staff and doctors during his treatment. But after 1 year, he was pronounced by doctors as completely cured, and he was released back into the public.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. After
They
so
did a
many
pretty good job
escapes.
there.
So many escapes. It's insane.
Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
completely rehabilitated.
yeah. I thought I had put it in there. Oh no, that's at a different part. Never mind. Yeah, it didn't take long for the just 25-year-old Vache to begin his crime spree. I didn't go
Dun,
into a
dun,
lot of
dun.
details just because there's quite a bit. Uh, but between 1894 and 1897, he ended up killing 11 people.
Oh my.
Yeah. Many were adolescent young farm workers who were tending to flocks in very isolated fields. So he would like target them. Yeah, because nobody else would really be around them.
That is smart. And also, I just had a really weird deja vu. Considering how many times we talked about crime in this room, I suppose it's not that weird, but it still
You,
felt like,
oh,
yeah, feels
neither one of us
familiar.
has covered this one, but you might have heard this case on a different podcast. It's pretty popular.
Oh, okay, I could see
Yeah.
that too. That could be a thing. I've listened to a lot and
Yeah.
forget a lot.
Yeah, I do too. So out of his 11 victims, they include one woman, 5 teenage girls, and 5 teenage boys.
Oh,
Um,
damn.
yeah, all were stabbed repeatedly. That seemed to be kind of his MO. Often disemboweled. Most of them
Oh
were raped or
my.
sodomized, and
Holy
almost
shit.
all of them were very heavily mutilated, like their bodies and everything.
I mean, what didn't he do? Like, he's hitting all the serial killer
I
boxes.
couldn't
You know how like
find
some of them will kill, but they won't rape. You know what I mean? They're like, oh my
yeah,
God, I would
I couldn't
never.
find anything about cannibalism, but he did engage in
Okay.
multiple acts of necrophilia. So he also
Oh
checks on
well.
that. Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty much the most depraved, but
Yeah, two
yeah,
of the
at least
worst, right? Cannibalism and necrophilia.
yeah. I'm like, okay, but maybe you didn't eat anybody at least. All right.
Yeah, it didn't seem
Great.
like it, I guess.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
so yeah, that's basically what he did. He was known to be a drifter. He was
Mm.
traveling from town to town, mainly in the southeast of France. And he mainly survived by begging or working on farms. So that's how he kind
Oh,
of probably ended up near his victims, as he was working on probably the same farms as them or farms nearby, and
right.
it seemed fairly opportunistic. Gordo would like to make comment on. Would you like
He
to
has a
cover the rest?
rebuttal.
Yeah. Would you like to read the rest of my notes, buddy
Uh,
boy?
actually, I have a correction.
Buddy, you know I can't
He
pet you right now. I'm
he full
sorry,
on just
baby
about like
boy.
I was about to watch him walk across your laptop. That's what he looked like he was gonna do.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, so he's begging, working on farms. Most accounts say he was unkept, and pretty frightening to run across. He was known to carry multiple weapons, like a rifle, or not a rifle, sorry. I kept wanting to put rifle, a file. Like, I think it means a metal file.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like, they always see what, like, people are trying to escape prison with this giant metal file. That's what
Right.
I
Exactly.
picked.
It's gotta be big enough that it's not like it wouldn't
Yeah,
file your nails. It would file like a horse's
yeah,
hooves or something. I don't know what
something
they're
like
actually
that.
for, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
can
I
picture
guess he carried that around. He also carried a pistol, a
it.
knife, a razor, and two large clubs.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
one of the sources said that he, at first, was going around with two pets. He had a dog and a bird, but the same source said he ended up killing them uh,
Oh my
and
god.
stuff.
A dog
So,
and a bird? Okay.
yeah, he like beat the dog to death with one of the clubs or something in front of one of the families that had
No.
just like let him stay for supper because he was begging for money. And then he just like beat his dog to death in front of them. And then they're all just like, okay.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
so
just
he's
sorry,
awful.
yeah, yeah. It made me think of watching Reacher. He's the guy Reacher, he's the hero or whatever, and he saw this dog that wasn't being treated well, and every time he went by he'd be like, oh, the dog needs its water or its food, and then like the third time he saw the guy beating the dog, and he was like, this isn't your dog anymore. And he like took the dog or whatever.
Yeah, good.
It's very like John Wick. Yeah, it's like, don't you fuck
Yeah.
with dogs, man. Anyway, sorry.
Um what was kind of interesting is all of the victims were killed in different provinces. So even though he was poor, it seems like he moved around a lot. And even though some of the killings were as close as like a week apart, they were in totally different provinces in France. So
Oh, that's where we are. Okay. I was like,
yeah,
wait, provinces?
yeah,
That
we're in
sounds like
France.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
So breakdown of his victims. So I keep wanting to say 19,
Yeah,
1894.
fair.
Uh, there was Eugenie Delhomme, age 21.
Oh.
She was killed. Yeah, she seems to be the first one. She was a little different. I think she was kind of just stabbed, but then it seems like people are like, yeah, he got like kind of obsessed with just killing people after that. Uh,
Oh, yeah, that was the
yeah,
starter.
yeah. The next was Louise Marcel, age 13.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
it's a very young teenager. Oh my God.
Yeah, the ages are all over the place. I think she's the youngest, though. Yeah.
Wow.
Then the next year, there was Augustine Marteau, who was 17. And then next was Marode. She was 65. She's like the oldest.
Oh,
Yeah.
bit of an outlier.
Yeah. There was Victor Portelier. He was 16. And
Oh my God.
then I think fairly soon after him was Pierre Massot Pellet. He was age 13.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Then
just
the
went
next,
for the vulnerable, I'm sure. Like, because if they're
yeah,
very young, or I guess at that time considered not very old, but quite old in the 60s, like, then
yeah,
yeah, easier to pick off for sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, then in 1896, there was Lorute or Lorut. She was 19. Then
Okay.
Rosina Rodier, age 14.
Oh man.
And yeah, the last victim, well, not, I guess not last, the last, like, killed victim was 1897. Uh, Laurent, age 14.
Oh.
So there's like details you can
Yves
find. It's
Saint
very,
Laurent. No.
yeah.
It's the perfect name.
Um, yeah, there's like victim or not victims, like details you can find online for each of the victims. Ones I didn't want to go through all of them because it's quite a bit.
That's what's
For
tough when they
11
have a lot of
victims.
victims.
Um,
Yeah. That's why I
yeah.
had to cut out the rest about Robert Durst's
Yeah,
victims, and
right?
we're gonna have to revisit that on Patreon. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, after that last one in 1897, well, in south central France, Rocher tried to assault a woman who was gathering, some things said gathering wood, other things said gathering pine cones. So I think you just use pine cones as like fire starter, though. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
she was gathering them in a
Definitely probably not
field.
for crafts at that point in
No,
time.
little hand turkeys for
Or like,
Thanksgiving. I don't know.
yeah, you make a bird feeder stuff with
Yeah.
the peanut butter and yeah.
Yeah, so she was out in the fields and she ended up fighting back, and her screaming caught like two of her family members' attention.
Oh wow.
Most of the sources said it was her husband and son who came to her rescue.
Okay.
And together they ended up overpowering him, and they ended up like kind of detaining him and took him to the police. So they did a good job.
Wow.
Uh, I because I didn't go through all the victims, they had been investigating like each of these murders, but
Right.
they weren't necessarily tying them all together. Um, but they had figured out like somebody was targeting like people that were working in fields and stuff. So they knew somebody was out there that had killed like
Yeah. I
multiple
mean,
people. And because it was each in a different province in the 1800s, like it's impossible to
yeah.
tie together. It was really hard for them.
Well, yeah, because
So,
communication was just so much like slower and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Just like not aware of what's going on at places that aren't right in your purview.
Hmm. Police believe that they now had the perpetrator of multiple of these murders, but they didn't have any proof to link him, other than a couple of the sources saying that they had released a perpetrator description from one of the murders of the boy Portillier. Um, they
Um,
somehow had a perpetrator description, like from his family members and witnesses or something, that saw a guy
okay.
in the field near him right before he was killed.
Oh,
So they had that guy's description, so they were kind of trying to match him to that, so at least they could pin this one murder on him.
sure. And know who
Um,
to like be on the lookout for, maybe.
yeah. So they have him in custody. So with more questioning about
Uh,
that specific case and investigators going back and re-talking to witnesses, he ended up finally confessing to committing all of those 11 murders. He ended up
wow.
saying to them, quote, "I committed them all in moments of frenzy." Um,
Okay. Well, you
yeah.
obviously enjoyed it.
Right? He kept doing it.
Yeah.
Um, so Joseph Boscher, he ended up earning the multiple nicknames. He's been nicknamed the French Ripper, the Southeast
Oh.
Ripper, as his killings happened just a few years after the infamous Jack the Ripper killings in London in 1888.
Wow, but he's so much lesser known.
Yeah. In the little thing I read about him, and I wanted to include it, he is known as the killer of little shepherds. Um,
Aw.
and there was also a book entitled The Killer of Little Shepherds, which was one of my best sources, was like an article interview kind of thing they did with the author of that book. He spent
Okay.
like 4 years researching it and reading through all like the police report and the case files, and um he ended up going to each of the provinces where one of the kills was killed and like talked to their family members and like what
Wow.
they heard about like what had been passed down through the family about what happened.
Yeah, that's really cool to
So
hear.
yeah, I think
Like
it'd be
really good
pretty,
source. Yeah.
yeah, it'd be pretty interesting, I think, to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
um But news of his case had traveled as far as the United States, where even the New York Times declared that his crimes, quote, surpassed in number and atrocity of those of the Whitechapel murderer. So,
Dang.
like, from the New York Times, they thought he was worse than Jack the Ripper, which is pretty crazy.
Technically, I would say he killed more. Didn't Jack the Ripper only get pinned for like 5, like, confirmed
Yeah,
murders? As
something
no,
like that.
yeah, because as notorious as he is, it wasn't the amount of people killed. I mean, it was a lot back then.
No.
I'm guessing, but
Yeah, this, it was like, I didn't want to go into like the details, but like the disemboweling and like the
yeah.
mutilations were very hardcore for,
Oh God. I mean, I'm glad.
yeah, it
I
was
don't
like,
need all the details all the time, I guess. It's
yeah, right.
it's
It
pretty
was a lot.
gross.
um
Yeah, it's like when people start talking about Igor and I'm like, nope, that's fine. I don't do I need to know? I can read
yeah,
it, but do I need to see it? No.
yeah.
Yeah.
After his arrest, he ended up trying to kind of build his insanity defense.
Uh,
He attempted to prove it in a variety of ways. He claimed that a rabid dog's bite that he received as a child had poisoned his blood and caused this crazy madness within him.
okay.
When that didn't seem to work, he then claimed that the quack cure that he took for the dog's bite was the cause. So, like,
Oh my
it didn't cure
Lord.
me. Yeah, the dog's bite drove me insane. And then if that didn't work, it was like, well, the cure I took for the dog's bite didn't work for the dog's bite and it made me insane. Uh,
I was Cujo'd. Oh wait, nope, it was the medicine.
yeah, it was the Cujo's medicine. Another claim, which seemed to be the next one. Hi, Gordo. Interrupted by cat. Oh,
It's such a big one too. He's just like, what is this device? I need to figure out
yeah.
why you're on
Uh,
it.
so the next claim was like kind of part of his arrogant, egotistical stuff. I mentioned he was trying to say that he was sent by God and compared himself to Joan of Arc and said he was
Oh,
like on a
good.
path and all this
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. God
Yeah.
speaking to him, and then he's going to be a martyr, and oh, great.
Yeah. Despite his best efforts, he was declared sane by a field of doctors. And this was done after lengthy investigations by these doctors. I think it said about interviewing for like 5 months. Like these doctors investigated and interviewed for like 5 months before they declared him sane.
Okay. They,
Yeah.
they maybe try to do their due diligence, I guess.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I kind of want to read the book
Mm.
that the guy researched, because the doctors are part of what makes this case so fascinating. Because these doctors,
I'm
Gordo's
sorry.
just removing his toy from the room. Uh,
It's got some bells on it or something.
yeah. These doctors, specifically one named Alexander Lacassange, he
Ooh.
was
Oh,
credited
yes, you had a picture of
as,
him.
yeah, as being one of the founding fathers of modern criminology. And he
What?
believed that environment and inclination formed criminals, while others at the time mostly believed that it was solely a function of biology.
All
Mm-hmm.
nature versus nurture. Okay.
Yeah.
He's got
Uh,
some incredible mustachios
yes,
on him.
very Arthur Conan Doyle. I might say so
Yes,
myself.
yes.
Yeah. His team was also some of the first to make to figure out even how to make casts of footprints in like soil. They were
Ah,
some of the first to analyze blood spatter patterns, including
okay.
looking where you wouldn't expect to look, like underneath tables and chairs and stuff for evidence, not just looking at the top.
That's
Um,
good. I mean, that did help us for a while, although it's some of it's been a little bit, you know,
yeah.
discredited or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
They also used bone and tooth measurements to get victims' age, which they weren't like super
Mm,
doing at the time. Um,
okay.
he himself also created an autopsy procedure, different ones that were like published. And he also published articles about how to match bullets fired to their guns. That was like basically the beginning of ballistics.
Mm.
So he figured out
Cool.
that they had markings on them, and then what he did is he took like 26, I think it was, of the most popular guns, and he fired them and then was like,
Oh.
here's what it was. So and he but it was one step further. It wasn't just matching the kind of bullet to a style of gun, it was matching it
Hmm.
specifically to that gun. And he figured it out
Right.
because he noticed that one of the bullets from one of the crimes had like a lot of distinct grooves on it. So he took the gun that they
Right.
knew that fired the shot, and he ended up getting like a cadaver, and he shot the cadaver a bunch of times and then removed the bullets, and
Oh.
then noted that all of them had the exact same markings in the exact same spots on all the bullets,
So
and
cool.
that by using a different gun, even a different of that same caliber of gun, you would get different markings. So like it was really
Oh.
specific for the time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really interesting and something I never really understood. Probably still don't quite understand all the way now, but like from doing different cases and stuff that like rifles were called, I guess kind of part of the name is because like rifling indicates like grooves on the inside of the barrel of the gun, which obviously
Oh,
can
okay.
transfer to like the
Yeah.
bullet that goes through the barrel and stuff like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it's like actual grooves, like you say. Huh.
Um yeah, so the book that was written, the Killer of Little Shepherds book, it focuses on the case,
Mm.
but it also talks a lot about the investigations and the like start of kind of this criminal investigation stuff that they were working, and they talk specifically about
Wow.
profiling because he had talked about like how this killer would be like antisocial and all that kind of stuff, which is like, oh, very John
Ooh.
Douglas of you.
Yeah.
uh
So yeah,
yeah.
pre-mind hunters, mind hunters.
Yeah. For Lacassange, the case was a shining moment in a brilliant criminal justice career. The criminologist had already investigated the assassination of the French president Sadi Carnot
Oh.
in 1894. Um, Jumping ahead, because I
Huh.
wanted to include this, in 1923, he petitioned for the creation of the International Police Commission, later called Interpol, which helped gather and
Oh.
share data on criminal activity for years to come. So he helped found
Ever heard of
Interpol.
it? Yes, I have.
Right? He helped like fucking create Interpol.
That's
Um
interesting. I really like the stuff that has waves, you know, that
yeah.
affects the future and stuff. Yeah.
He himself, though, was not without faults. It said some of the stuff he believed in was kind of written off as quack, like science of the
Okay.
time. He
Yeah.
also believed in phrenology, the belief that the shape of one's skull shapes one's
Oh.
personality.
A bunch of people did for a while. It was pretty
Yeah,
wild. You're
yeah.
like just poking about your skull and
So, I
the
mean, he's
shape of
not,
your knobs.
yeah, he's not perfect.
Sure, 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 sure. It was the
Yeah,
1800s. Who was?
right? Always gotta have something. Um,
Yeah, it was just barely got rid of slavery in some
yeah.
places.
Yeah, so with all this, like he ended up talking Baucher's like trial and basically being like, this is our investigation we had. this is why we interviewed him. We believe he fits the profile. He fits like the sketch or like the witness statements, and
Yeah.
they kept pressuring him, and he ended up confessing, and then they deemed him fit for standing trial. He was tried for only one of the murders, and that was that boy that he matched the description of.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
yeah, they thought it was okay because even if he was convicted of more of them, all it took was one victim and he would be sentenced to death.
Oh,
So
okay.
they really focused on the one that they knew they could get him for instead of trying to pin
Mm.
all the ones on him. Uh,
Yeah, which can sometimes backfire. Yeah.
yeah. So he was found and convicted by the court in the county where he had murdered two of his victims, and he was sentenced to death on the 28th of October, 1898.
Wow.
One of the last sources I read said while in prison, he was left alone at some point with the warden, and Vache nearly beat him to death with a chair before the guards heard the warden's screams and came to stop him. So,
Wow. Okay, guys.
yeah, like fuck.
Maybe there should have been a guard outside the door at least.
Right?
I don't know. Just a
Um,
thought.
I only have a little bit more. He was executed by guillotine at dawn 2 months
Ooh.
later on December 31st, 1898, at the age of 29.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder if his head
Like,
blinked a couple times after it got cut
I don't
off.
know. It did say that he refused to walk to the guillotine under his own power and had to be dragged by the
Oh,
executioners.
all right. Well, way to go to your death like a man,
Right?
or whatever.
Um, some stuff said he gave like this whole speech again about how like he was sent by God and all this stuff, and yeah.
Oh, really? Some crazy last words. Those are always fun.
Yeah, pretty much. The only other thing which everything kind of mentions, but I didn't find much by way of evidence for it,
Mm.
was that many of the people believe his true victim count could be as high as 27. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
some missing people unaccounted for.
because there is even like I gave you the year breakdown of who was killed what year, but some of them were over or like almost a full year apart, and like other years he
Oh,
killed like four people in a year, and then like the
sure.
next year it's
Okay.
only one. So yeah,
Seems
there
like, yeah, a bit too much of a cooling off period or whatever.
yeah, and some of the cooling off, like I think two of the cooling off periods were more than 6 months apart. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they do kind of believe, because a couple of the victims were only a month, one of them was only a week apart. So
Mm.
yeah, with how often he was traveling from province to province, they think it could be a lot more that were maybe just never tied together. So
Yeah, because otherwise it's like a weird pattern or a non-pattern.
yeah,
So,
uh,
yeah.
but I didn't find anything that talked about what any of those other victims, who they might be or anything. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
could be more for sure. I could see it.
yeah, I could too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the case. I ran across it and it said like, oh, this puzzling case. He's been called like the French Jack the Ripper, and it was the birth
Oh
of
man,
one of
I'd
the
be
births
hooked
of
at that
modern
point.
criminology, and it was like what? And like this listicle, and I was like, oh, I gotta read this
Oh,
case.
dang. Yeah,
Yeah,
very similar time frame and
yeah. I think
MO.
the first
Yeah.
murders were just 6 years after Jack the Ripper. So
Yeah, or like similar like vulnerable victims anyway, if not like sex
yeah,
workers and whatever. It's still people working by themselves and vulnerable and stuff. So,
yeah.
yeah.
hmm
Piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
At least we caught this one.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
yeah. Thankfully, that lady's like family came to her rescue and they overpowered him and stuff.
Right.
Otherwise, who knows what might have happened.
Totally. Oh, good one. Never heard it. Like, I don't remember really hearing about it. I don't know. So very,
Okay.
very cool.
It was pretty popular when I looked it up, so I was like, she might have heard of this one.
I mean, it's totally possible, of course.
Yeah.
Heard it and forgot it, maybe. So
Sometimes it'll be
I don't
like
think it.
the last 10 minutes of a podcast episode, and I'm like, wait, I do know this one.
Oh yes, the realization hits you where you're like,
Yeah.
this isn't the case where like this happens. It's like, no, no, no. Oh, okay, but it's this one. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you do know in the end, but it's hard to remember names and stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
you're just more like, yeah, literally, is this the one where this happens or whatever? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Uh,
I
well,
find that
very.
happens to me, especially if I'm listen to more than one episode back to back. They all bleed together, and then I don't remember
Oh
details of any of them.
God, that is
So
very true. Try listening to someone for like 8 hours straight, where you just like listen to one
I couldn't
podcast
do
that
that.
day.
I
You're just
couldn't
like,
do
wait,
that.
what did I just hear? Yeah, yeah. You probably miss a lot because you just end up. I couldn't talk to one friend for 8 hours in a day. Like I've just been okay. I need to
No.
talk to someone else at this party, right? Like you just can't do it.
Yeah.
As interesting as they might be.
Well,
All right.
we will take a break and come back for part 2.
I'll be right back. Got a case of the Gordos.
Oh, yeah.
He missed you.
Oh, he did. I feel like anytime I was trying to type my notes, and when I sat down on the couch, he's like, "Oh, coach, I'm gonna climb on top of you, and then you can't touch your keyboard."
And I can move my webpage and cover up his little face, but I don't want to because he's cute.
Oh. Hi.
The
Look into
G-Man.
my like
What was it? El Gordo, the fat man.
yeah.
That guy.
El Gordo.
El Gordo. All right, we are back, and I'm gonna tell you all, especially you, Kelsey, and you, Gordo, about what's been called the greatest prank in history.
What? The greatest prank in history?
I'm going to talk about Jim and Dwight from The Office. No. But perhaps their ancestors.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Okay, to be fair, this one might be reaching a little bit for a specific crime, but it's a really good story. They would certainly be
Okay.
charged with something today if this happened, I'm sure.
Okay, that's fine.
A misdemeanor, at least. I mean, yeah. So, but maybe nobody dies, That's fine.
Yeah, all I can think of is that Wine and Crime episode where they did those kids selling chocolate bars or something.
That
Can't.
sounds familiar. And they
It's one of
like
their
went on
first
strike
episodes.
or something.
Yeah. The kids chocolate bar union.
Like, fuck this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people revolt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's a little bit lighthearted, we'll say.
Perfect.
Yay. I'm excited. If you can't tell. It's sometimes also called the Berners Street hoax. So.
All right. I haven't heard of either of those. So.
I think I first heard about this on. Yeah, I should probably give a shout out to one of the podcasts I listened to and I've heard about it on was the Spill the Mead, which they tout themselves as a history gossip podcast kind of, and they did have a lot of really good information on it. So shout out to Spill the Mead. We're about to spill the tea. Okay, this one was in 1809, so also 1800s. 1809, 1810, some things say. The details.
Yeah, that's almost 100 years older than mine. That's crazy.
Oh, that's true.
Like
Yeah,
90.
yours was late 1800s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the times were even older.
Yeah. So that we do know what happened in November. It was a bet between two friends that basically alleged that the one friend could make any house in London that he chose the talk of the town for one day.
Okay.
Yeah. This is very specific, right?
Such a weird bet, but all right.
Well, I will give you I do have some information on their backgrounds, which will give you maybe some context as to what these guys were like.
Oh, okay.
But basically at 54 Burner Street, Westminster, London, on a November day in 18 see now I have 1810 because depending on the source, but either way, everything started out normally that morning. The maid was going about her business when a knock sounded very early at the door, about 5 a.m. And not expecting anyone, they went to the door a little confused. um, there stood a chimney sweep, wondering when he could start cleaning the chimney as requested. Flummoxed, the lady says, "Well, you must be mistaken. We have no need of your services. I'm so sorry, but there's been some mistake." But the poor man was obviously like, "Well, I need to get paid. This is a job I was asked to do." So he argued with her a little bit before she was able to get him to leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she breathed a sigh of relief. No sooner had she sat down, however, than another knock sounded at the door. Another knock, knock, knock. Here to sweep your chimney. Hello?
Jesus.
And then again, knock, knock, knock. Chimney sweep. Knock, knock, knock. 12 more times in the next few minutes this would happen.
It's like
Until
fake ordering pizza to a house, or I guess not fake, but
yes.
ordering pizza to somebody else's house.
See, I've heard of this modern version too, right? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if it's something that happens a lot or just something I heard about that happened. Like, one guy kept doing it to another person for a time, and you're like, okay, but what if he likes pizza? I mean, obviously it's an inconvenience.
Who's paying for the pizza?
Right?
It's on the other guy's tab. Take it.
The pizza guy's gonna get held hostage, like on that was on The Office, because Michael was like, "I can't use this coupon for all these pizzas," and he just like keeps the kid there for a while. Yeah, it was a lot. So the poor maid servant was like, "Hopefully that was just a little bit of confusion for the day. Nothing else is gonna happen." This reminds me of a quote that I heard in Outlander: "Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof." I don't know. I think it's from the Bible. Too many unpleasant things in one day for one person.
Yeah.
Minutes later, another knock comes at the door. Knock, 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 knock. I thought about doing that every time, like she did on Spill the Mead, where she was like, knock, 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 chimney sweep, knock, 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 knock. I was like, my dog will go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. But, like, can you just imagine just the incessant, like...
It would be annoying.
Oh, totally. Next up, it was a coal cart person. So, like, carts full of coal for your fires. But it wasn't just one, it was like a whole fleet of them. So probably like another dozen or whatever.
On the first day of Christmas, but you look much
totally. Also made me think of that episode of The Office where Andy gets Aaron all of the gifts from that song, and she's like, "Can someone who's sending them to me just please stop?" It's like the goose is already like almost pecked out her eye and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, so presumably the 12 chimney sweeps were off in search of Mary Poppins, and at least they were dealt with, but then they had the coal cart people, and then just more people start coming up. And like the owner of the house was a wealthy widow named Mrs. Tottenham, and she just holed up in her room, I don't know, maybe just watching the proceedings. I'm not too sure, but she's like, what the hell? Now the street became congested with bootmakers, shoemakers, haberdashers, hat makers, all sorts of tradespeople. And across the street, two men gazing on from their rented room, looking at the proceedings, and one hands over a single gold coin. The the whole impetus for the bet.
Oh my
Between these
god.
two men. Yes. So, who were these two men?
And why? How did this make the house the talk of the town? Just like makes everybody mad.
I mean, yeah. Like, that gives you a taste of it, but like, yeah, it becomes like a circus basically.
Wild.
All planned by these two men, one Samuel Beasley and one Theodore Edward Hook.
They have two crazy names.
Beasley made me laugh because I was like, literally, like Pam Beasley on The Office. Anyway, yes, Sam Beasley, we know a little bit about him. He was born in 1786-ish, I wrote. Can't remember why. Maybe it was disputed. But later he joins the army. He happens to get knocked unconscious at one point during the war. One war, the Peninsula War, I guess it was. I don't know. I was like, what war? So many. And he was like so knocked out and lifeless looking that they prepared him for burial. They were like, he's dead.
They didn't even poke him with a stick.
Right. I'm not sure how they're testing it at this time. Like, are you taking a pulse or what? But then he just makes this miraculous recovery, like just basically sitting up, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm alive. Get me out of this body bag. So he also in his past went on a rescue mission to save she was this duchess with this very French sounding name that I apparently abbreviated to Duchess DA. So I guess I meant to put it back in there later. Damn, and you conquered all your stupid French names too.
Oh, I only looked how to pronounce one of them and the rest I wung it.
I wung it. Nice. Okay, but this duchess, she was captured by French forces led by Napoleon.
Oh no.
Okay, so I guess her name was Marie-Thérèse Charlotte de France, and she was one of the daughters of Louis the 16th and Marie Antoinette, so pretty pedigreed.
Yeah.
And it said one of the only to escape the French Revolution with their head intact. A teen at the time, she was first sentenced to death, but later it was commuted to life in exile. She was the eldest child to the couple, sister to brother Louis, and sister to the unfortunately short-lived Princess Sophie of France. And also, fun fact, she was known as the amazing name of Madame Royale.
Ooh. Yes, please.
Casino Royale? Madame Royale. Anyway, that's who he was rescuing. I just thought that was kind of cool. Duchess of Angoulême. That's what the full name was. Very Frenchy French. Sorry. I had details that we probably don't need because, I just like to go off on side tangents about people. It's just not the focus of the story. But after Beasley was done completing these adventures of his, he returned to England where he wrote a couple of novels and over 100 plays.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was also an amazing architect, and he designed many theaters in London, which I probably could have looked up the ones and put some pictures on for you, but I'm sorry, I didn't. I will try to add some for social media.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like anything super insane, like, some architects are like, woo, way out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a fun fact. And also he was like apparently a really great public speaker and could improvise on the spot. So his like dad would be like, look at him go, give him a topic. He can just like spit rhymes on anything. I don't know. I was like, okay, I guess he's a master debater.
Yeah, sounds like he did everything.
Yeah, this Beasley guy. He and his father scored a dramatic success called The Soldier's Return. And by scored, I mean like they did the musical score. They like literally
Oh,
spoil it.
okay. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
So he's like a composer. I don't know if he's like
Yeah.
their Times Eminem or what. He's got this musical thing going on. He wrote several more popular works and got enough attention from the ladies to be called a playboy. And
Mhm.
the prince at that time, who would later become King George IV, loved him so much he personally gave him a job, a rather random job, I call it, because he made oh, sorry. Yeah, I said this was Theodore now we're talking about, right?
No.
Damn it. Theodore, he's the great public speaker. He's the Eminem of the time.
Oh, okay.
Not Beasley. Now we're on to Theodore. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I skipped over his name there. He made Theo the accountant general and treasurer of the island of Mauritius, apparently. He would
Yeah.
earn 2,000 pounds per year for this position, rather. He's just like totally in charge of this island's finances.
Sure,
But
he seems like he knows how to do that.
yeah, he's totally qualified.
Yeah.
Which is why he bungles it very badly, managing to lose 12,000 pounds. I'm not sure if it's in the first year or whatever, but he's just not able to account for it at all.
Damn.
And when they
That's
ask him,
more
he's
than
like,
he got paid. So
yeah. He's like, I didn't really keep any accounts. Like, what do you mean accounts? So,
what do you mean finances, money, goods and services?
like my job that I was supposed to be doing?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So he did do some minor jail time for this. But then he like started a newspaper or something in jail and found he enjoyed that. He's
Wow.
failing upwards, as it were.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He uses some of these skills to make some more money eventually, but then gets sent back to basically a halfway house for racking up, quote, debts to the state. So it's like almost like a debtor's prison that he ended up back in.
You embezzled money.
I know. What? Just pay your taxes, bro. He gets sent to something called a sponging house, which apparently is a house usually maintained by a bailiff for keeping debtors for a day to afford opportunity to come to terms with their creditors. Or sponging house from the extortionate charges made there for food and lodging. Nothing could I find about actual sponges. Yes.
I was like, is this a bathhouse? Is a sponge bathhouse?
But the second, like the etymology definition with the extortionate charges, it's like, okay, like you're the sponge and they're draining you of all your resources, I guess. Maybe because I've had partners that when they get mad at me have been known to call me a sponge just because I don't make as much money as them. Anyway, it's fine. But like Theo is definitely the Jim Halpert of the pair, which I say because even though the other guy's a Beasley, this was not his the Burner Street hoax was not his first rodeo or prank. He had already done something that they call the postcard prank, I guess.
What?
Yes, which was so called apparently because it was basically the first postcard ever. I don't know how else to explain this, but he drew a cartoon on a single stiff piece of paper and sends it to himself because it was a cartoon about postal workers and he wanted them to have to see the postcard and handle it because he mailed it to himself so they would have to look at it. And I'm like, so this is like the first thing that's not in like a sealed letter and it's what becomes
first
the postcard.
Like chain email or meme.
Yes. The precursor, exactly.
Send this to all your coworkers. Yeah.
Yeah, the first trolling. So yeah, it should probably come as no shock that he's the one that makes a bet with his buddy Beasley that for one single guinea, which is a gold coin worth £1, 1 shilling, so like not a lot, that he can make any house he chose into the talk of London in just 1 week.
Wow.
Yep. And Beasley was like, "Sure, show me." I don't know. And
But how
they
much
either
did
like
he pay
what?
for all of that? How much did he pay? Or I guess nobody got paid? None of those people got paid? That sucks for them. They all thought they were going to get
Yeah.
paid that day.
It was basically a big red letter writing campaign he had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays I wonder if there would be more financial repercussions
It's
to
basically
someone.
like swatting somebody's house. Like,
Yeah. Or is it? What do you mean, like a SWAT team?
yeah,
Or
when people like call unnecessarily and you're like
oh,
wasting
that's
their
ultimate trolling.
resources. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
like if it happened now, all the unions could be like, you wasted our time. You called like 12 of our workers
Yeah,
at all these different
exactly.
places.
Like on a small scale, I think stuff like this can happen where like I don't know, I heard about one on one podcast where someone ordered something through delivery, like a present, like I don't know if it was DoorDash or whatever, but they basically like, picked up a candle or something for them instead of like food, and was for a gift. And then like the person said they delivered it, but then didn't deliver it. They just kept it. So there was like nothing the person that ordered it could basically do because
Oh, shoot.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with people? They will find a way to scam, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So take your pick. This either happened when they were walking down the street and they decided to look at the house and go, that's the house. Or else it maybe happened when they were drinking at a pub and they decided to come up with this idea. I'm
Jeez.
probably betting on the second one.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows whether he had any reason to pick that particular house. Maybe he knew it was inhabited by a
Oh,
wealthy
okay.
widow, but maybe he was just like, looks fancy. um, yeah, a lot of things. I had a quote that was like about her name. Almost all accounts I've read state that she was either just a Mrs. T or Mrs. Tottenham. It said, I can now reveal that she was in fact Mrs. Mary Teresa Tottenham, a widow at the time the hoax is believed to have occurred, but as to why such a hoax was instigated, I have no idea. Nor do I know how Mary Teresa would have felt about such a prank or whether she even knew of it until she read it in the newspapers, as she would no doubt have had servants to receive guests and tradespeople.
Yeah. Oh, that maid.
Yes, the one having to like go to the door.
Every probably like minute and a half.
Yeah, and
Oh.
like yeah, that's kind of their background. So yeah, it basically all started that one late November morning. Oh, is this where I have the date here? 28th or 29th? See, nobody can decide. Um apparently there wasn't good records at this time.
No.
But like, yeah, it starts with the chimney sweep and then the maid rebuffs him and then it's like knock knock knock, more chimney sweeps, chimney sweeps, sorry. And then the coal carts and then among all the bakers and stuff, there was people bringing like wedding cakes and things that have been
Jeez.
specifically ordered.
Oh my god.
Everybody from wedding cake bakers to people that make the little miniature portraits in like the lockets and everything. Everybody, like
Oh
all
my
of the
god, it's
people
like
that you could hire,
the entire town showed up on our doorstep in the morning.
like all of London, like everybody else is like, I can't get anyone to come anywhere to give me coal this morning.
Yeah, they're all at this lady's house. Everybody, the whole city shut down because everybody's
Yeah.
trying to get to her house. Damn.
And then come along a throng of prospective maids, cooks, and other servants that were responding to the job listings that they had received.
Fuck.
And if that wasn't enough, then came amidst that a ton of furniture deliveries, dropping off
Oh,
a bunch of furniture.
I'd be like, come on in, furnish my house.
Yeah, exactly. Is it paid for? Yeah, because you don't know
Yeah.
how that stuff works. Nowadays, you don't get stuff dropped off until it's paid for. Maybe this is why.
Yeah. I'd be
Um,
like, whoever's paying for it, yeah. Give me all the baked goods,
it's just
everything.
the
Give me
right
everything
house.
that's paid for.
Is that a cake? Yes, this is the right house.
Shoes?
Um,
Give me shoes.
but then came a hearse that was trying to pick up the dead body they'd been told was waiting inside the house.
Jesus. Okay.
So it's not all great.
No, that sucks.
And then apparently like a second wave, they said, of deliveries were dropped off, and it included things like pianos, like baby grand pianos and organs, and they're all like clogging up the road.
Jesus.
So yeah, this is when it becomes a nightmare. The road is choked with the horses, the carts, the people trying to get in and out, and a growing crowd of onlookers, as you
Yeah.
would have. Yeah. Sam and Theo were snickering in their rented room across the street, enjoying the show. Then it hits noon. Yeah. You think you had some long mornings getting up at 5:30? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Fuck.
This
has
is
been going on for 7 hours already.
This is their long day at Disney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the Lord Mayor of London arrives in response to a very personal letter addressed to him, purportedly by the dying widow that was in residence. She was not dying, spoiler alert.
If she knew what was going on, maybe she'd have a heart attack.
Yeah, what is she doing? Just sitting upstairs? I gotta wonder. There's no information on like
Like,
how she handled this.
surely she could hear. They wouldn't have doorbells then, so like people knocking on the door.
I think it's all knocks. Yeah, I think so.
Jeez.
Knock, 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 knock. Yeah, how big is this house? She's trying to sleep. She's like, what the fuck? So following the mayor, the governor of the Bank of England and the governor of the East India Trading Company stopped by.
Sure, why not?
And then Gordo's butt.
Yeah, Gordo's butt stopped by.
Oh, and get this, followed by the Duke of is it Gloucester? Whatever that fucking Gloucester. I don't know. I can't with these English names. And the actual frigging grand old Duke of York. No word on his
Jesus.
10,000 men. Marched right up at the top of the hill, marched back down again. I don't know. That was all capped off by the arrival of the Lord Chief Justice, the Commander-in-Chief of the British Army, a cabinet minister, and the Archduke of Canterbury as well.
This guy was so creative. I have to say, this is like
very
next
convincing.
level.
Yeah, for all these people to
Like,
be like,
fuck.
oh, I'm needed here.
All these important people just to visit one random rich person. Like,
right?
fuck.
This is way before what's the new, like, there's a podcast out called Scamanda or something about some real scammer. Like, we're used to this stuff nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah.
Quite amazingly, there was no like riots that broke out. No looting.
Okay.
Really. No fights. Apparently
That's good.
yeah, like other than a couple of carts got overturned and some people helped themselves to some of the casks of ale that were being delivered. So I guess there was some leaked booze, but finally by 2 to 3 p.m. ish, the police had gotten control of the situation and were able to cordon off the street itself to help evacuate the area.
Jesus.
It took a while.
Oh my God.
And
That's crazy.
somehow, like, yeah, and then the culprits were not like officially charged or caught after the incident. I don't know. You might be surprised to learn that I'm sure they looked for them, but they weren't able to track them down. Gordo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy how like nobody knew really what happened or who did this until one of them wrote a semi-autobiographical whatever.
Sounds
No.
right.
I wrote semi-autographical and it's not underlined in red somehow.
Oh.
He wrote a book about himself in 1836, sorry, that was essentially like admitting to the prank.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fuck, which one was it? God damn it. I don't know. Wait, maybe I have it later. Who wrote the book? I'm sorry. And they figured out somehow that he had had the help of like 2 or more people in penning they figure about 1 to 4, like 1,000 to 4,000 letters he probably had to write to get this accomplished.
Jeez.
And from what they figure, he had a friend named Henry Higgins and a legend unknown actress that helped to write some of these letters.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, who was it? Yeah, sorry, I was trying to understand what I wrote here in the notes. Just like I just had that some of the sources kind of differ, different date, slightly different address sometimes. I'm not sure why it's not, like just it happened. It's in the paper. It should be like this. You made this the
Yeah.
most well-known house, for the day. Yet, like none of the papers can seem to agree on the exact date or whatever.
Right?
Yeah, it's a little annoying. Yeah, I had that according to one source, this went down on a Bedford Street near Covent Garden in London. Okay, so this is maybe like a version that they think it could have been. It said it could have been at the home of a Mr. Griffiths. This one source was saying. And then I had a quote. They demanded to see Mr. Griffiths, who it transpired was out of town, leaving the servants to eventually lock and bolt the doors. His deliveries included a mangle, sofas, boots, tea and coffee, fiddles and flutes, pianofortes, prints and drawings, coal wagons, and gigs, to name but a few.
Wow.
Physicians, surgeons, dentists, and Piddock of the Exeter Exchange Menagerie was required to purchase a live tiger. Oh my god, it's the original Joe Exotic. Mr. Griffiths. The most annoyed person, however, was an elderly man who had hobbled to town from Hammersmith to be paid a legacy of £700, which he was assured Mr. Griffiths had received for him. So, like, whether this is a similar case or maybe I don't
it was
know.
inspired.
Yeah, like an inspired by room. It was confusing to me. I
Weird.
honestly, yeah, it's something I maybe could look into more. Yeah, to be honest, because it's just. Oh yeah, because then something else also said there was a similar incident that was found to be reported in Edinburgh, Scotland. So I was like, okay, of course Scotland. You got my attention. No. But this one article said a singular hoax was practiced on Tuesday at Edinburgh. Cards were put into the post office addressed to medical gentlemen, undertakers, upholsterers, grocers, confectioners, haberdashers, milliners, mantua makers. I'm sorry, wig makers, etc. Whatever that means. Desiring their attendance at a gentleman's house a few miles from Edinburgh, and requesting them to send a hearse and mourning coaches for a funeral, and others to send out quantities of wine. Hello. grocery articles, etc.
Is this for a while people didn't make house calls?
Yeah.
Deliveries? Because they're just like, we've been fucked over too many times. No more deliveries or house calls.
Yeah, too easy to pretend you're like writing a letter from someone's house that you want some service performed, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if these other ones are true. It sounds like it happened multiple times, you know?
Weird.
This one said, in consequence of this, the road was crowded with carriages, coaches, a hearse, and 12 mourning coaches. Like, mourning, like, grieving. Yeah. I'm not sure what a mourning coach is exactly in comparison to a hearse, but whatever. After their arrival at the house, to their utter astonishment, they found the whole thing to be a hoax of some silly, malicious wag.
A wag.
Oh, and I probably included this one because another one took place in London, according to the Evening Mail, on the 14th of March, 1810. My favorite date. No.
Yeah.
Hoax. Physicians, surgeons, and apothecaries, jewelers, auctioneers, and governesses, poulterers, pastry cooks, and undertakers, etc., have for the last 4 days besieged the house of Mr. Hookham, 15 Old Bond Street, in consequence of 2-penny and 3-penny post letters containing appointments, order, etc.
Oh my god, I didn't think about how much he spent on postage.
Postage?
Just to mail all those letters, like 4,000 letters.
Yes! The guy from the inventor of the fucking postcard.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. And this one, I forgot about this. From the Suffolk Chronicle, on another significant date, the 19th of January, 1811. Both the birthdays. Reported the following hoax, which they believe to have been instigated by the same prankster as the Burner Street hoax. On Sunday, night, every confectioner in the metropolis, from Whitechapel to Hyde Park, including the adjacent... Ooh, that sounds like Jack the Ripper territory.
It is Whitechapel.
Right?
Yeah.
Including the adjacent streets, to the amount of near 100, sent 12 cakes of various dimensions, none less than 20 pounds weight, to Mr. E.I. Samuel, West India merchant, Great Prescott Street, Goodman's Fields. Circular letters having been sent to the different shops with the orders, stating that Mr. S. was recommended by the eminent city baronet. That was a whole fucking sentence.
So many words.
I was like, wait, are you not done yet? The whole of the gentleman's friends were invited, most of whom did themselves the honor to accept the invitation, to the no small amusement of the authors, who it is suspected attended as if invited. God.
Okay.
So this one was just like a fake party, maybe?
Sure.
Understanding that right? Clearly I don't. On Tuesday, circular letters were also sent to about 100 grocers, in consequence of which, from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., the neighborhood was amused with arrivals of parcels of tea and sugar, about 30 pounds in weight each, and on Wednesday arrived, by the same plan, about 100 fine large Cheshire cheeses, which cut a curious appearance from their uniformity, and sometimes 8 or 10 meetings at the door at one time.
Can you imagine?
The people coming to your house with the cheeses. I don't know. Yeah, it was insane, but that's like that's where I cut myself off.
I can't believe that happened so many times.
I forgot that. I honestly forgot that I had more in the notes about the other instances. I'm like, oh yeah, and then like maybe it happened again.
Crazy. That's so wild. Like, I hope it was all paid for by the people doing it. Otherwise, that's such a waste of like food and everything. But it's still funny.
It's not like completely victimless. Yeah, obviously people were like put out and annoyed and like sent on jobs that they didn't get paid for, but it's all still fairly innocent in the realm of true crime.
Yes. Yeah, nobody got killed.
Right.
Yeah, wow. That's ridiculous.
Few people got some free ale out of it, or
Yeah.
whatever. And who knows what happened to all those large Cheshire cheeses? I want to know.
Yeah. That
Did
and
you
all
order a cheese? I don't know. How much
those
is it?
cakes.
Oh
All
my
those
god.
cakes and everything.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, the time you put in making a wedding cake, and then to be like, no, we don't need it. Eee. Yeah.
But like if you roll up on a house and you see a long line of like deliveries and you're like, there's 6 other wedding cakes and 12 things of cheese and a funeral
Exactly.
casket. Like, what is going on? You're not.
Hopefully everyone could just kind of like write it off as a yeah, insurance,
Yeah.
whatever, foible.
Yeah. I'd be
But
a little suspicious if I was delivering to a place like a wedding cake and there was like 3 other wedding cakes. You'd be like, what's happening?
exactly. But yeah, it's so weird. It's think about how long it takes to like receive a missive by mail or whatever, and then you have to like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, now I have to complete it. I'm not gonna like write them back and be like, are you sure? I don't
Yeah.
know.
And the fact that they had to specifically order everything, like, you had to like tell them
Yeah,
details of stuff and
right. You're like,
like,
you wouldn't think somebody would prank that because you're like, who would take the time to
yeah.
write out this if they didn't really want it? You're like, well, this asshole.
Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. So weird.
Well, before we sign off here, a couple things I meant to tell you. I don't know, last time we recorded, whenever the hell that was.
Forever
When,
ago.
yeah, Mom and Ressa got back from their trip, and did I tell you they gave me I got a little magnet that was from the Gardner Museum? No, it's on my
No, you didn't
fridge.
tell me that. That's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah. Mom was like, yeah, my mom bought it, I think, and she was like, oh, I just thought it looked cute, and then she's like, and then I realized it was one of the stolen paintings from the case, and I was like, oh, cool. That's really
You heard
neat.
it here. Alanna has one of the paintings.
That's right.
Alanna has stolen property in her possession.
On micro scale. But also, yes, I think we talked about last time, our newest Patreon shout out. But
Yeah.
I forgot I wanted to do a shout out in a way that I heard someone say before. So ask me to shout out Patrick, our new Patreon.
Yeah.
So let me say, shout out to our Patreon, Patrick!
Patrick!
Yeah, I heard it on something where they were like, shout out to, and then they like just shouted it out. Anyway, but that would bring us to, we got to pick, or rather Pat got to pick a topic because he joined at our special level on Patreon where you get to pick one.
Yes.
And that's exciting because then we get to pick that for like our next episode. Yeah. So that's the next one, right? Yes.
Yeah, we have
This
our
one.
January Patreon episode that
Yes.
we're gonna be recording and releasing. It's
Shortly.
a movie review and recap thingy, if you guys like those ones.
Yes, a very I've found a very controversial movie that people are already talking about on other podcasts and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna
Yeah, I
talk about
felt like we
Saltburn.
needed yeah, we needed to
Yeah.
jump on the Saltburn bandwagon.
Yeah. I ended up telling Pat about how it ended because he went upstairs. It, he was like, I don't know what's happening, but it's taking a while, and I'm gonna go have my bath. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a slow burn kind
It
of
was.
thing.
That's what I said. It was a bit of a slow burn. Should have called it slow
Yeah.
burn. Anyway, Yeah, we'll get into some of the more memorable scenes in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be fun. And then I'm really excited for what Pat picked for his Patreon themed episode, because it's gonna be a little satanic panic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that should be fun. As in interesting, just like something that gets mentioned, but you don't like always do a deep dive into it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already had some fun looking into it a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited we're back, and we'll catch you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it cryptic.
Bye.
Well, all our longtime listeners will definitely know that recording a podcast is not always easy.
No.
Nope. So you better believe, like, when we find something we like, that we're gonna probably stick to it and not look for anything else. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love Zencaster. When we tried it, we were like, okay, finally, I wanted to have the video, and it's up to 4K video, which is
Yeah.
pretty effing cool. I can see every pore on Kelsey. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
But it's great video, and like just really easy on this one. So like once we stopped recording on our phones, I was like, yeah, this is the one for us. So even though sometimes our computers fuck up, it always comes through for us in the end, because we've never lost like a recording, knock on wood, and every time we've had to use it, it's just been really great and really easy, and everything's just recorded when we wanted it to, which is, it's a lot to ask for when you podcast as much as we do.
Yeah. It's nice that each of us has our own separate audio recording that you can download and edit. So it makes when one of us is
Not us.
doing something or has something, it's easy. You can edit that out even with the other person was talking because you have two separate tracks that you can edit. Yeah, it's one of the reasons we love Zencaster. Definitely, it makes it a lot easier. And the audio quality is also a lot better than any of the other programs we tried using in the past.
Yes, it is the best. So go to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code cryptic, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan.
We want you to have the same easy experience as we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
Keep it cryptic. Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon: cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your host making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.